Hello, everybody. This is the old bear from the old bear's den of Bigfoot. And seeing as how it's cold about everywhere in the U.S., it seems, we decided we'd bring you a little warmth. I brought you a fire today. Anyway, this is an update. I got a phone call this past weekend from a lady that lived in Clinchmore, Tennessee as a young girl. And she wanted to let everybody know that when she was a child, she was walking home with her family, and as she was walking home, they saw a large, very tall man walking across a dirt road there in Clinchmore, Tennessee, near the church, just above the church is where they lived at the time, and they were walking home. And there was a large man that was walking across, standing at the side of the road when they first saw him. Her mother saw this large man in a black suit, or black hairy suit is what she thought it was, some kind of newfangled suit or something. And what they did was, Dad looked up and saw this person, and he wanted to go and speak to this person and see what they were doing in the neighborhood, and they never seen him before. So he told the mother to watch the children, and he was going to go up there. Well, he took off and went up there as quick as he could. And when he got up there, this, quote, man in a black suit had walked across the road and up into the woods. Well, when the dad got up there, he stood there for a few seconds and then hightailed it back down to where the wife and the children were at. And the mother asked him, so, well, did you speak to him? And he said that was no man. She said, what do you mean that wasn't a man? He said, honey, that was not a man. That was one of them hairy men. Well, they gathered the children up close to him and went home. So, let's fast forward to this past Thanksgiving, and the lady was telling me that a man that was of God, I'm not saying he's a pastor, I'm not saying he's an evangelist, I'm just saying he's a man of God, decided he hadn't been feeling real well, so he got a buddy of his to take him up there in that area, and they camped out up there. Well, his nephew wanted to go deer hunting. Now, they were up there for a couple of days before the nephew showed up. And they were up there hunting. And at night, they could hear things, hear noises, hear screams, howls, whatever you want to call them, at night. It unnerved them to the point where they were leaving the windows open the first night, but by halfway through the night, they, they shut the windows. The buddy of his, of the man of God that was there, ended up staying up half the night because of all the screams and hollers they were hearing. They hunted close to camp on day 2, and the nephew showed up. And when the nephew showed up, he stayed all night, and they heard screams and hollers that night when they were outside the campfire. Well, the next morning, the nephew got up and walked back in there quite a ways. And as he walked back in there, he noticed that he didn't hear a lot of birds or a lot of squirrels or anything of that nature. And the further he got in there, the less he heard. He got in there, and weird stuff started happening. Everything was dead silent. There was no noise. There was no wind in the trees. There was no squirrels, no chipmunks, no birds, no nothing. And this boy walked into a kind of like a little thicket. And when he walked in the thicket, he had a gun. Um, when he walked into the thicket, he parted some brush and saw something big and hairy sitting there, and he took off. He turned and ran. Now, he got back to camp, told his uncle, the man of God, what had happened, and he left. He took off and went home. He didn't hunt no more. Now, they didn't stay too much longer after that. I think by the third night, they left. They quit and went home also. So, here's something else. Now, this lady and her friend went up in there this past year, and her and her friend went up in there and was just walking around, going up to where the old homestead was, and walked up in there, and there's a lot of logging that used to go on in there. There's logging every 2 or 3 years, she said, that goes on. And they started up one of the logging roads, one of the main roads up in there. They parked their car at the bottom because it was gated. There was a gate there, but the gate was open, so you could go in. But their car wouldn't make it up on that hill because of the ruts and stuff from the trucks. Anyway, they started up that road, and they got up there so far, about halfway into where they thought they were going to go, and they started smelling a very bad, foul odor. And again, there was no sound in the woods. There was no squirrels, no chipmunks, no birds. They could hear the wind going through the top of the trees, but that's all they heard. And they started walking on, and then they started hearing some footsteps, heavy footsteps. So they kind of got scared and took off up the road and got up there to where one of the loggers was at, and it was getting dark, and he said he would take them out to where their car was parked. Didn't want them to have to walk down through there in the dark. And they got out of there. So there's a bunch of other stuff that's going on down there in that area near Clinchmore. And it's still an ongoing thing. And sounds like it might be a good investigation area for someone to try out. Just make sure if you go in there, don't go by yourself. Take 2 or 3 friends that are armed, and yourself better be armed. So you never know what these hairy men in a suit or a man in a dark suit that's hairy might do to you. So be careful down there, everybody. If you go in there and start looking around, be very careful. They are there, and this is the second report I've had on that area. And I might try to get some people together and get down there and look around for ourselves. So be careful. And this is a couple days before Christmas, and I hope everybody's ready for Christmas. Got all the grandbabies and the babies and their spouses and their family members all bought up for it. And I hope you're able to relax and enjoy Christmas this year. And I hope everyone has a happy and very Merry Christmas. But please remember the reason for the holiday. It's not the presents. It's not family. It's not the big dinner. It's not dressing up. It's about Jesus Christ. I pray every one of you remember that Christmas morning when you see those little faces of your kids and your grandkids opening their Christmas presents. It's that's God smiling back at you when it's a little child. And you see the twinkle in their eyes and everything, that's God's twinkle in their eyes. So all of y'all have a very Merry Christmas. And if we don't see you before New Year's, you have a very happy New Year's. But be safe. Don't be out drinking and driving, people. And please remember Christ on the morning of Christmas. And thank Him for the breath that you take. And thank Him for your salvation. And if you don't know Him, call me. I'll help you get to know Him. So y'all have a wonderful Christmas. And we love y'all. And we thank you. And we're done today. One more thing I wanted to tell y'all. Christmas night, about 8 p.m. Eastern Time Zone. We were thinking about having a live show to bring you, and this will be the title of the video, A Christmas Nightmare. It is about some Bigfoot and some family staying at a log cabin out in the woods for Christmas. A little bit of snow's in this, a little bit of not snow, a little bit of police action coming in, and a lot of Bigfoot action coming in. Not the good kind either. So come and listen, and maybe you get to see me in a Santa's hat. I am a big guy after all. And I can be jolly. I'm not an elf, but I can be jolly. So I hope y'all enjoy this video and come see us Friday night. We love y'all. Bye-bye.